Hi, and welcome to Reed's Audio Reading. I'm Reed, and I hope you enjoy my channel. Today I'll be reading the adventure Pray for Tinrith, written by Tim Hitchcock. This adventure was published in Dungeon Magazine, issue 90, January/February 2002. Pray for Tinrith is a short D&D scenario that can be added to any existing adventure. It is suitable for 4 5th level player characters, but could easily be scaled for PCs for 3rd to 13th level. The module focuses on the specific combat strategies of a water naga, stealth, trickery, traps, and spellcasting. It would help to review the section in the Dungeon Master's Guide on Water Dangers, page 85. Adventure Synopsis. At some point during an earlier adventure, the PCs find an old journal. Most of its pages have been torn out, and a lot of the legible writing seems the work of a deranged madman, but one of the final entries alludes to a lost treasure hidden in a well. The PCs decide to pursue this lead based on information they gather from the journal. See the journal entry handout. Journal entry. Delight in the wildness of the eternal screaming, the times one pays to gods, in the name of the gods. We who breathe immortal air, when we must share its warmth in our ever dying lungs. Ceaseless, it bears fruit, and then withering in dusk turns pallid. For them, for myself, foretells of our own mortal vengeance. The gods smile in mockery and irony. Now, with my own twilight, I indulge in solemns, coronations, and crown myself king fool, the greatest of rogues, whose true tale will never be revealed. Heir apparent to lost titles, master thief of the kingdom's greatest treasure. All these years of illusion and deceit, ha! Never once did their prying fingers find my trove. Those fools, those poor fools, gave me far more than baubles. Never can they retrieve what they've lost. They never peeped into the well, not once. All their pathetic longing, all their wasted tears, all their vain prayers. It's too bad they never thought to make a wish. Adventure background. An old journal, perhaps found in a lost chest or among more precious tomes in a slain wizard's library, claims that the kingdom's greatest treasure lies hidden in a cavern at the bottom of a well. Based on other scribbles in the journal and with a successful gather information or knowledge local check DC 15, the PCs can easily locate the well. If they wish, they can descend the shaft and work their way through a small maze of tunnels formed and fed by an underground stream. The maze like network of passages and caves is the home of a Tyrinth, an evil water naga. Tyrinth is 15 feet long and weighs about 300 pounds. She has glistening emerald green scales and eyes that glow dullish yellow. Her red and orange spines rise when she is angry or perturbed. Tinrith subsists on blind fish that inhabit the stream and the occasional traveler foolish or unfortunate enough to plump her lair. She never makes herself known immediately, but allows prey to stumble about for a spell. When confronted by more than one interloper, she tries to divide the force and attack the members one at a time. She does this with the help of illusory sounds and motions, and by leaving choice pieces of treasure lying around. PCs who explore the Naga's domain and survive can leave with Tenrith's hoard and a few new adventure hooks. Tenrith's Well. The network of caves inhabited by the Water Naga is referred to throughout the adventure as Tenrith's Well. Water. The water in Tenrith's Well is 3 feet deep unless noted otherwise. Medium sized PCs can wade through the tunnels quite easily, but cannot run or charge unless they have some means of moving through the water unimpeded, such as a freedom of movement spell. Small PCs can either swim, DC 10, or wade through the water, but they cannot run or charge and also suffer the game effects of being entangled, as described on page 84 of the Dungeon and Master's Guide, unless they have some way to move through water unimpeded. Walls. The walls of Tinrith's Well are formed naturally out of eroded limestone. Unless otherwise noted, they rise up an average of 10 feet, tapering at the top. The tunnel and cave walls are made of slippery, unworked stone with few handholds. DC 25 climb check required. The 60-foot deep well shaft is unworked dry stone, with a few lichen encrusted handholds. DC 10 climb check required. Debris. There are quite a few small piles of floating debris made up mostly of grayish green lichen, leaves, sticks, dead rats, dead fish, grass, and straw. These are harmless but contribute to the water's opacity. Illumination. There are no light sources in Kinnereth's well, so PCs without dark vision need to provide their own lights. Tinrith the Naga. Tinrith can be encountered anywhere in her home, but when the PCs first descend the well shaft, she is resting in Area 12. Unless the PCs are using silence spells or otherwise taking care to conceal the sound of their descent, assume they are taking 10 on their move silently checks and have the Naga make an opposed listen check. If the Naga does not hear the PCs entering Area 1, she can make a new listen check each time one or more PCs enter a new keyed area, as indicated on the map of Tyrinth's well. For instance, when a PC moves from Area 1 to Area 4, in all likelihood, she will become aware of the PCs long before they are aware of her. Tactics. Tyrinth uses different tactics depending on where she encounters the PCs and how many adversaries she faces. See the various encounter area descriptions below for specific tactics in each location. In general, she likes to slither under the murky water, staying out of sight until she's prepared to strike. In melee, she likes to precede a poisonous bite attack with True Strike and Cold Embrace spells. Note that Tinrith's Cold Embrace spell is identical to the Shocking Grass spell, save that the energy type is cold instead of electricity. If dealt 5 or more points of damage in a single attack, the Naga flees, using gaseous form if necessary. She tends to save one of her third level spell slots for this purpose. Exploring Tinrith's Well. The well shaft leading to Tinrith's lair is 50 feet deep and opens up into a 10-foot high cave, Area 1, meaning that the well is actually 60 feet deep. PCs who toss a coin or a similar item down the well can hear it hit water if they succeed to a listen check. The DC depends on the size of the item's drop, from 30, 25, 20, 15, or 5. PCs who hear the sound can gauge the approximate depth of the well into a successful intelligence check, DC 10. Whether Tineth hears the noise also depends on the size of the item dropped down the shaft. Add a plus 5 to all of the above listen checks, DCs. Tinnereth, who has a plus 10 modifier to listen checks, has no chance of hearing a fine object dropped down the shift, being 30. PCs who fall while attempting to climb down the well shaft land at the point marked X on the map and take 5d6 points of damage plus 1d6 points of subdual damage. The 3 feet of water at the bottom of the shaft cushions only part of the fall. 1. Bottom of the well. The well opens into a small cavern about 20 feet in diameter. There are two openings in the cave walls, one north and the other south. The water here is 3 feet deep and flows south to north. There are small 6-inch long blind fish swimming about, and the bottom directly beneath the well is littered with copper, silver, and a few gold coins. Treasure. Characters searching the bottom of the cavern find 340 copper pieces, 80 silver pieces, and 14 gold pieces. 2. The Wedge. The passageway is narrow, forcing the PCs to move in a single file. If they venture down this passage, Tinnerith casts True Strike on herself and attacks the last PC in the marching order from behind. She attempts to bite and run before the PCs can launch a counterattack. 3. Blood in the Water. If the characters attempt to go into this direction, Tenerife tries to get them to turn around by killing a few blind fish upstream. She lets the blood flow out from the cracks in the northern walls. Then she casts Ghost Sound, creating the sound of a young girl shrieking. The noise echoes eerily throughout the complex, making it nearly impossible to pinpoint the direction of the scream. Listen DC 30. 4. Thump. The current here is noticeably faster, and the floor is covered with slippery moss. The water in the center of this room is 4 feet deep. The slippery moss means that PCs moving through this area must make a successful balance check, DC 10, each round or fall prone. PCs who fall are then pulled towards the whirlpool in Area 10. Trap. To make things even more difficult, once the shortest PC enters the center of the room, Tenrith pushes a 3-foot by 4-foot pile of debris from upstream Area 2. Any character struck by the debris must make a successful reflex save DC 15 or lose their footing and be swept towards the area 10. The current travels 10 feet per round. Characters who have lost their footing must make a successful swim check DC 18 to regain their feet. Debris Trap CR1 plus 5 Slam 1d4 Reflex negates DC 15 Search DC 15. This trap cannot be disabled unless the PCs remove the debris the Naga has pushed into Area 2. 5. Sleepy Fish. This passage widens and the current slows. Tiny blind fish bump into your legs every time you move. The Naga attempts to distract PCs using minor image to create a giant blind fish. The fish leaps out of the water several times and then disappears. While the characters are distracted by this, Tyrinth casts a sleep spell. She attempts to bite the closest sleeping character, dragging the victim into Area 10. Note, the Naga cannot maintain the illusion and cast sleep. 6. Eagle Eye. The passage opens into a 25-foot by 15-foot cavern with a small cul-de-sac in the southeast corner. Another exit leads northwest. Trap. In addition to the danger of drowning, there is a collection of large rocks and debris that Tinnerith has stacked up on a ledge just north of the pool, between this area and Area 13. One round after the characters step into the room, she darts in underwater and slaps an innocuous rock against the south wall with her tail before darting out of the room again. This triggers the rock fall from the ledge above, which spills into a 5-foot by 15-foot area. All PCs struck by the rocks take 66 points of damage. Give rogues a free spot check, DC 25, upon entering the room to notice the trigger stone. On a successful roll, they notice it's a little out of place and they can warn the party not to enter the room right away. Treasure. Characters who search the southeast cul-de-sac find a half-rotted hobgoblin carcass wedged in the corner. It is wearing rotting leather armor and carries a rusted falchion. It is also wearing one lens over his left eye. This is one lens of a set of eyes of the eagle. See the Dungeon Master's Guide, page 216, for rules about using one lens. Characters searching the southwest corner of the larger cavern can find the other lens with a successful search DC 25. 7. What's so funny? The water here is 5 feet deep. Tinnerith casts Tasha's hideous laughter when the characters enter this area. Those PCs who fail their save and become prone by falling over laughing are in danger of drowning. 8. Floating debris. There is a pile of debris caught in a small whirlpool along the walls. The floor beneath the floating debris drops slightly to a depth of 7 feet. Characters searching the debris need to make a balance check DC 15 or slip underwater, getting drenched. 9. Hit and run. If the characters walk down this dead end passage, the Naga casts web above the waterline. She then swims below the webs and attempts to bite one character before fleeing. 10. Whirlpool. A whirlpool spins clockwise in the center of this cavern. PCs must make a successful swim check DC 23 or be sucked into it. Any characters sucked into the whirlpool must succeed another swim check DC 20 or be pulled underwater and placed in danger of drowning. The water depth in this room is 10 feet. There's also a chance that the shambling mound, which lives in Area 11, is watching, 30% chance. If so, it attempts to grab characters who are stuck in the whirlpool and pull them into its lair. Note that the characters with magical effects such as spider climb or fly can easily free themselves from the whirlpool, or even aid companions who have been sucked under the surface provided they make a successful strength check DC 15. 11. Shambler. This 15-foot by 15-foot cavern has an 8-foot high ceiling that is completely covered with a strange brownish green, hanging moss like plants. There's also a thin layer of gray plankton floating on the surface of the water. Creature. Tenrith generally avoids this area because a shambling mound lives here. Sometimes the shambler reaches into Area 10 to pull trapped animals or humanoids out of the whirlpool with its tentacle like appendages. Tactics. The shambling mound immediately attacks anyone who enters its lair, fighting until it's slain. Treasure. PCs who search the floor find 12 gold pieces and 23 silver pieces. PCs who search the mossy plants and make a successful search check, DC 15, find a bent gold hair comb set with abalone inlays, 10 gold piece value, and a masterwork bastard sword. The sword and hilt are forged out of a strange bluish black metal, and the handle is wrapped with black shark skin. The sword is incredibly well balanced, and the metal appears to be oiled. The metal is Vakar, which gives the sword a +1 bonus to damage. Vakar also naturally exudes an oil that is especially caustic to anyone of pure elven blood. Any elf who is struck with a weapon made of Vakar takes an additional +2 d6 points of damage. 12. Naga's Lair. Debris clings to the edge of this cave. The floor is strewn with broken bones, many of them humanoid. There also appears to be a large circle of rocks in the east corner, but water distortions make it difficult to see. This is Tinrith's home. She tries to keep characters from going near it, but if they do, she attacks first and then tries to draw characters south into Area 15. The underwater circle of stones is actually a nest containing 4 small Naga eggs. Tenrith attacks any PC who disturbs the nest, although if she feels like her life is in jeopardy, she turns gaseous, using a gaseous form spell, and flees to Area 10. 13. Attack Point. If the characters wander this deep into the cavern, Tenrith attacks them openly. Her favorite tactic is to use a stinking cloud or color spray spell, then attack from beneath the water. She arduously tries to keep characters away from Area 12. If she feels like her life is in jeopardy, she turns gaseous and flees to Area 10. 14. Pit. Water erosion has created a 10-foot long, 5-foot wide, 20-foot deep pit in the middle of this intersection. PCs can spot the pit easily, the water looks considerably darker there. If Tinnereth attacks from Area 13, she tries to push PCs into the pit with underwater bull rushed attacks. PCs who are pushed in and who are carrying more than 10 pounds of gear must make a successful swim check DC 10 or sink to the bottom and risk drowning. The pit is visible if PCs are actively looking, but it is more difficult to see if PCs are being attacked, especially if Tinrith has cast a spell that obscures sight. 15. Moldy Bones. This water here is shallower, only 2 feet deep. Piled high enough to clear the waterline, in places are a number of bones in various stages of decay. Characters rummaging through the bones must make a successful fortitude save, DC 14, or be infected by the disease Slimy Doom. Treasure. Also, in the bone pile is a small greenish white stone carved into the likeness of a young girl's face. A bard who makes a successful bardic knowledge check, DC 13, recognizes the face of Princess Adthene, who mysteriously disappeared 30 years ago. At the time, the king publicly mourned her disappearance as the loss of the kingdom's greatest treasure. This information can also be learned by making a successful knowledge history check DC 18. The stone radiates conjuration magic if subject to a detect magic spell, and it functions as a periapt of wound closure if worn. Scaling the adventure. This adventure was designed for a party of 4 5th level characters. It can easily be scaled upward to accommodate higher level PCs by increasing the HD of either the Naga, the Shambling Mound, or both. You can also increase the number of appearance for either creature. Other options to alter the difficulty include raising or lowering the water level, adding water vermin such as pufferfish that shoot poisonous quills when scared, water spiders that skitter across the water surface like water bugs, or water snakes. You can also choose to have more debris infested with the slimy doom disease. A final option would be to add the presence of another Naga of the same type or possibly another species altogether, spirit or dark. You can also change Tinner's archetype to a Naga with a higher CR. 3rd to 4th level PCs. Remove the Shambling Mound. Alternatively, reduce both the Nagas and the Shambling Mound hit points by half due to a recent battle between the two. Lower the water level throughout by 2 feet. 6th to 8th level PCs. Double the hit dice of both Tinrith and the Shambling Mound. 14 HD for the Naga, 16 HD for the Shambling Mound. Note that this change makes the Naga and the Shambling Mound huge. Add water snakes, use medium sized constrictors, and medium sized vipers to the cave complex. 9th to 11th level PCs. Triple the hit dice of both Tyrinth and the Shambling Mound. 21 HD for the Naga, 24 HD for the Shambling Mound. Add water snakes, huge constrictors, and large vipers, and water spiders, medium sized monstrous spiders. 12th to 13th level PCs. same as above, and add one more 7 HD water naga, one of Tinrith's offspring. Raise the water level by 1 foot throughout. Concluding the adventure. Once the well has been cleared out, characters will probably leave the caves and continue about their business. Depending on where you decide to place the well, it might serve the party as a unique hideout or shelter. It might also make a nice resting place with a larger dungeon. If PCs have discovered the Naga eggs in Area 12, they might try to sell them on the black market. If they fail to find the eggs or simply ignore them, they eventually hatch, enabling Terrance's spawn to retake the well. If PCs have found and identified the periapt of wound closure in Area 15, they are left with a couple of options. 1. The characters try to return their periapt to the royal family for a reward. 2. The PCs keep the periapt, but it leads to trouble due to the accusations of others who are able to identify it. 3. The ghost of Princess Adthine haunts the character who possesses the periapt. Or 4. A combination of these events might occur. For example, the characters might discover that the periapt is haunted and take steps to return it, only to be accused of doing something untoward the princess. Characters might even have to lead others to the location where they found the periapt to prove their innocence, or have a cleric who can cast Zone of Truth, Divination, or Commune to confirm the truth. Thank you for listening to this audio reading of Pray for Tyrinth, published in Dungeon Magazine issue 90. I hope you enjoyed and have a great day. Best regards, Reed.